All right, Duniam, what about this letter over 5,000 Australians have signed? It's an open letter to the ABC alleging that the national broadcaster has misguided public opinion and inflamed public tensions by publishing biased coverage of the Israel-Hamas conflict. What do you think, Jono?
Well, the ABC have got form here. There's multitudes of examples out there of their biased reporting on this and other issues. And on the Israel-Hamas conflict, it predates the bloodthirsty invasion of October 7. The Australian Jewish Association lodged a formal complaint back in August about reporting on matters related to this conflict. So there is a real problem there. And the Minister for Communications, rather than focusing on her Orwellian mis- and disinformation laws, might do well to bring the ABC and its staff into line and start reporting the facts as they're required to under their charter.
Nicole, I covered the protests in Melbourne and all the kids ditching school to stand there and wave the Palestinian flag. That's not surprising given the indoctrination in our school system. I think it's sad, it's shocking. Wish it wasn't happening, but that's where we are. But what worries me is a story in the Daily Telegraph today that says a whole lot of young people get their only source of news and current affairs from things like TikTok. And of course, TikTok and Instagram, if you look at the content, they're serving up a whole lot of unbalanced material, anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian. That's what concerns me.
As well it should, Peter. I worry for this next generation of kids coming through our schools and our universities. But, Peter, the really bizarre and, annoying thing about this is that you and I were both essentially deplatformed and censored by social media during the Voice debate because of our different views on different subjects relating to the Voice. And yet you can see this information just freely published. So how is it that our social media platforms have such different standards when it comes to discussing and reporting opinions and facts, as you and I both do, versus this sort of terrible anti-Semitism?
Yeah, that's where the government needs to put its attention and not on this misinformation, disinformation stuff. Hey, Jono, the equivalent of the Treasurer in the UK, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, has brought down their budget or a financial statement update. Interestingly, they are really cracking down on the dole. Over there, they're bringing in requirements. You've really got to engage, you've got to take work, you'll lose your benefits if you don't, and they'll lose things like access to medicine, dental care, etc. But they're also saying you've got, I think it's about 18 months to get a job and try hard to get a job. If you don't, they'll stop the dole completely. Now, I reckon this is something we've got to look at here.
For heaven's sake, we have a worker shortage here in Australia. In theory, there shouldn't be a single person unemployed because they can't find work. It may not be the job of their dreams, but there is work there. Now, without being flippant about it, I think dignity of work is at the heart of what we as Liberals believe in. And so we should be doing everything we can to get people off welfare and out earning a keep and doing what they can for themselves, their family and their country. That's what it's about. And turning to the Treasury side of things, well, of course, the people that pay for this at the end of the day are Mr. and Mrs. Taxpayer, and taxpayer funds are a finite resource, and we have to remember that when we see these billions of dollars going out the door. So I'm all for reforms like this. You'd remember in the early days of the Abbott government how hard it was to get the Senate to agree to sensible reforms, but I think we've got to revisit that and have a look at how we can do it here in Australia.